So hello, welcome to, you should be welcoming, but I'm here with the famous Brigitte Mars, and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And we're going to go on a little weed walk.
A weed
today.
walk. And you know, people think in order to harvest wild edible plants, they have to like go to the mountains or go to the country. And I want to show people that it's everywhere, starting right outside your door.
So some people call it urban foraging, and until like 2 years ago, even though I'm this environmentalist and all this stuff, I was like weeding my dandelions, and you and other people finally got through to me that you can actually eat delicious, healthy salads and stuff like that from local stuff.
It's so true.
Yeah, for free. So we have like the world's leading expert in weeds. Yummy weeds.
I lived for 2.5 years totally off of wild edible plants.
Wow.
In a teepee in the Ozarks.
That's the coolest sentence ever. All right, here we go. So this is right by the September School, which goes way back in Boulder. And Brigitte is sort of guest faculty here. And the community has come together, I guess, to say, if there's interest. What were you just saying?
Well, I mean, if some people want to put in energy into creating a community garden here, this could happen. And more places are looking at vacant lots. I mean,
Love that.
They're watering grass with the same amount of water and a little bit of effort, a shovel and some seeds. This could be feeding the neighborhood.
So this is this actually huge kind of unused, you never see people really hanging out here, maybe the students, but you could turn this into a fun community, and then everyone interacts and learns and gets their hands dirty, and it's super relaxing, right? It's like a...
Gardening is a meditation.
Yeah.
It's something about, connecting to nature, and it's also a lesson in patience. There used to be a Celestial Seasonings tea tag. Planting a garden is faith that the world will go on.
Aw.
You know?
Love that. Alrighty. So you're just walking along, you think there's nothing to see, and then Brigitte points to the ground and says, let's talk about this.
So this is a little patch where it hasn't been mowed, and this is a great place. I come here and make salad. So for example, dandelion greens are considered one of the top 5 most nutritious vegetables. It's said that the average American recognizes over 1,000 logos and the products they're associated with, and yet less than 5 plants. And
Wow.
so one of the plants they recognize is the dandelion, and they think, got to go to the hardware store and get
Right.
something bad
Poison
to
it.
kill that. And yet dandelion salad is great. They're tastiest in the springtime before they flower. We're in fall right now, so this is a second leafing of dandelion. Dandelion leaves are high in iron, protein, calcium, magnesium,
And you can actually measure it. I mean, it's not theoretical.
It's not theoretical, and it grows. The fact that this plant survives with very little water, and it survives in our cities. Ideally, one thing to keep in mind in urban foraging is you don't want to collect anything within 50 feet of a busy road.
Huh.
Because you're going to get lead exhaust. So here we are, way in the backyard. We're way more than 50 feet of a busy road. So starting with your own backyard is a great place. And, I talked about how we are watering grass, which is a crop that people don't even eat. And then we use gasoline to mow it down. I mean, what kind of sense does that make? Now, there's a myth that dandelions kill the grass. Some people say, well, I got to get rid of the dandelions, they kill the grass. So then we poison the earth with herbicides, and the dandelions don't kill the grass. It's that dandelions survive drought, adversity, dog pee, being stepped on. They survive, and the grass is very, tenuous and has a lot of requirements.
People think grass is kind of natural in a way, but it's really kind of indigenous to England or wherever there's tons of rainfall, right? It doesn't really make sense in a lot of areas of the country.
Well, it's said that this whole lawn obsession was started by the British aristocrats in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
It was a way of, people would drive by in their carriages and see that all you had in your yard was grass, and that was ideal for playing croquet
Right.
and lawn tennis.
Right.
And what worked more than 100 years ago is not green anymore. So I'm really asking people to get off your grass and create an edible lawn.
So if a family or someone wants a little plot of grass or something to play on or sit around on in their backyard, what do you recommend they plant?
Keep a little strip, but there's many plants that are low growing that could also be eaten that won't get too tall, so it won't interfere
And they're
with
soft.
your frisbee game or whatever. Yes, thyme is a really good one, or thyme. Clover, white clover. There's a certain kind of little white clover. Self-heal, violets, malva, chickweed. So there's many things that are nice and soft. And when asked our Boulder City, why do people want to kill the dandelions? And the answer was, they may take over and people might trip over them. Well, that's just not a good enough answer.
If you're tripping over dandelions, you got other problems.
I think so.
So they be tripping. If you plant all those other things, do they use less water? Why are they better than grass?
Because they're survivors. They've adapted to the hardiness of surviving under adversity. And it can help us be stronger. Right now, everyone's like, oh, what about the chemtrails? And what about Fukushima? We need to tap into the plants that are survivors so that we can survive this industrial age that is full of pollutants. They're not going away. Right. And I don't think there's a better food than eating things that are fresh, wild, and survivors themselves. I don't see a better food for environmental survival than the dandelion, and we can learn from it by imbibing it. We're taking in that nourishment. So I come out here and I make salad. I see here another plant, malva. Let's see. There's
what is malva? This stuff?
So this is malva. Almost everybody has this in their yard. Malva neglecta, meaning neglecta. And malva is in the same family as hollyhock and hibiscus, and it's edible. Go ahead.
This
Fish
stuff?
Leaf. Yeah, go ahead. Eat that. Why would you import lettuce from California when this is in your yard? You could put this in your green smoothies. You could blend it into eggs and make green eggs, no ham.
Right.
You could put it in salad, use it in sandwiches. You can eat it raw. You can puree it.
Is it super important to wash it first?
Well, I think you have to use your own determination about that. I don't usually wash things from my own garden and yard. However, I do think that being willing to eat a little bit of dirt and soil microorganisms helps our body to produce vitamin B12. So I actually think it makes you stronger to eat a little bit of dirt.
Right.
But again, things from the store or things that have been handled or maybe are from a road that's not too busy, I would certainly wash.
Okay. So what do we got here?
Well, this plant right here is actually amaranth. And amaranth is in the same family as quinoa and spinach. And so early in the season, you get edible greens. And then later on in the season, look at these little black seeds. You have a grain in there. But technically, amaranth is not really a grain. It's an edible seed, relative of quinoa and beets. So isn't that amazing?
So you eat the black part?
You eat the black part. You could, give the leaves back to the earth, and then you could cook this as a porridge.
Did you zoom in there?
You could sprout the seeds.
Can you just eat it?
You can just eat it, chew it well. You could soak it and eat it. It's going to give you protein. And amaranth is high in the amino acid lysine.
Cool.
And I also find that when you eat wild food, a little bit is really satisfying.
That's interesting.
So one of my favorite things, rather than taking lots of vitamin pills, to just walk and forage and nibble. So another virtue is that we're eating things that are so fresh, they're still growing.
Right.
I mean, even if you shop at the health food store, how long ago was that kale in the ground? It might be several weeks.
Right.
So you get this superhuman energy from things that fresh.
Yep.
This is burdock, and the other night I was at a potluck and there were no plates, and so I harvested like 30 burdock leaves and used them as disposable, biodegradable plates. Wow. Why not? You could put your dinner on there. The word burdock comes from the French beurre, meaning butter, because French women would wrap their cakes of butter in burdock. Wow. And one of the things we often know about burdock are the burrs. You probably have gotten these stuck on your clothes or your pet's fur.
I have this in my backyard.
Yeah.
Though,
the Swiss engineer, Georges de Mestral, he noticed his dog covered in burdock burrs, and he went and looked at with a magnifying glass, and he invented
Velcro.
Velcro, that's right.
This is what invented Velcro then.
So if you're trying to figure out how to do something, nature's probably figured it out. You could use burdock stem. Thank you, here.
Or do you say thank you when you
Thank you, yes
take
I
stuff
do.
off?
Yeah, one of the things you want to say is bless it before you pick it. So your heart, you're always blessing the plant. So
I like that.
you could use burdock stem, brush your teeth and gums if you're camping.
Really?
It'll clean.
Does it have some property in it that cleans?
It does have properties in there, some antiseptic, antimicrobial properties.
Cool.
So the part that most of us familiar,
So you bend this part?
you just kind of break off a little stem. Bless it before you pick it, and then
Thank you.
tooth and gum massage. There you go. So the part that most people know about burdock, the part that you can buy at the health food store or the farmer's market,
I'm not good
is
at this.
burdock root.
Uh-huh.
Burdock root is edible.
Right.
It contains a starch called inulin, which is great for stabilizing blood sugar. And burdock root, tastes good. It's often sold in Asian restaurants.
It does
And
kind of...
during the Industrial Revolution,
Sort of
doctors
works.
in Europe suggested that their clients drink burdock root tea to help clean their livers and get rid of environmental pollutants. So again, all this talk about it's such a toxic world, I'm running and there's, gases and fumes and things like that. Use burdock. Just in case you forgot your corsage for the prom.
Rock the burdock. Right, corsage for... Yeah, you put this on your jacket,
There you
go out for the night.
Yeah, but then your date will stick to you.
Oh,
You might like that.
I would like that. Would be a change.
So here's some catnip, and go ahead and feel the stem, Waylon. See how that stem is square?
Uh-huh. How funny.
Square stems are usually an indication that a plant's in the mint family.
Uh-huh.
Although there are some plants with square stems that are not mints, there are no mints that don't have a square stem.
So it's square, that's funny.
Yeah, so catnip is a relative of many mints like basil, oregano, thyme, peppermint, spearmint. And we tend to think of catnip as something that excites cats and makes them euphoric, but catnip is also a sedative for humans. The cats get really excited and then they sleep. So catnip can be used to relax children, to help teething babies. It's good for stomach ache, and it's also relaxing. So if you have insomnia or you're nervous, you can make a tea of catnip. Catnip rubbed on your body will repel bugs.
Really?
However, it not only attracts house cats, it might also attract mountain lions and jaguars. So, don't hike alone.
Wow. Wow. So, and you were saying, which is interesting to me, that this one doesn't look so good. So,
Well, it's a little moldy right now. It hasn't been getting enough sun. So
Okay.
if you're going to harvest plants, you want to harvest healthy looking
when
plants.
they look really good. So,
Yeah.
like this part looks kind of good.
That looks great.
Yeah.
And it's a little late in the season, but catnip is edible.
Can I eat it?
Go ahead. It's going to be a little pungent, and I've made catnip pesto before.
Yeah, it smells like pesto.
Uh-huh.
This is fun.
It contains nepalactones, which is a powerful sedative.
Well, this interview's going to wrap up quick.
What could be richer? A field of dandelion. We could be making juice and tea and food. And you can use a part of this plant in every season. This is not our enemy. This is an ally. And we have disrespected our Earth Mother in harming this plant. Another thing to keep in mind about dandelion is it's one of the first foods for the bees in the springtime. So when we eradicate dandelion, we are giving the bees less to eat when they awaken in spring. So I think this is something to celebrate.
I love that. So if you want to save money, don't buy chemicals. You have less poisons in the world. And then you have good free food. The bees get help and they need it. It's like when.
Yeah, and improve your health.
Improve your health.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's so many reasons. So we just really need to rethink how we've been viewing this.
So do you think there will be, like, in 10 years, people will be planting dandelions?
Well, the pioneers brought dandelions here deliberately, and
Really?
they put fences around them. So again, it became associated with, oh, that's, low class, or that's something poor people did before the turn of the century. We have to look at, our ancestors came here and they so wanted to be American. They wanted to fit in and kind of forget about the old country ways. And I know when I, as a teenager, was kind of showing signs that I was going to be an herbalist, my parents would say, that's something poor people did in the last century. Why do you want to do that? And I said, because it's medicine for the people.
Yeah.
And everybody deserves to know about this.
There is this weird societal attitude toward nature that is like old-fashioned, which of course it is. It's timeless, but that it's, yeah.
I think it also goes along with nature represents the wildness and the feminine aspect. So we need to tame her and control her and put her in a box and oppress. And so I think it also
Poison
goes
her,
along
dig her out.
with the, the liberation and equality for all peoples by liberating nature too.
Right, you got to control it.
And Emerson said, a weed is an herb whose virtue has not yet been recognized.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Take it away, Emerson. So
Yeah, I think I already did. But
look for the dandelion leaves that are, they're kind of jaggedy. The flowers are not here right now, although, I see a dandelion flower.
oh, a bunch. Look how many. So, and this is in September, late September.
So here
Do you
we
eat the
are.
flower?
You can eat the flower. You can put them in smoothies, and then the sap right here is what I said. Put on a wart, and then look at this.
What does it do to a wart?
Makes it go away in a few days.
Really?
Yeah, and then look at this. This is wild spinach, right here. This is wild spinach. Taste to leaf. It tastes just like spinach. It's called lamb's quarter, Chenopodium album.
So I just ate a dandelion flower, which may be normal for you, but I haven't done that lately.
Bless
And
you.
it tastes good.
Tastes good. So this is going to taste just like spinach. Lamb's quarter. The Latin name is Chenopodium.
This stuff?
Which means goose's foot. See
Why is
how
this way darker than that?
Maybe, more sun, less sun, something like that. And then, much like the amaranth that we saw, this also has edible seeds.
Uh-huh.
So lamb's quarter is wild spinach. And
Okay.
people will spend hours ripping this out of their garden or
Right.
poisoning it to grow spinach. And this plant is still producing, here it is, late September. The seeds aren't quite ripe yet.
Would you eat that?
You could, but they'll get riper and black, much like
But
the
I could eat
amaranth.
it?
You could. So wild spinach, which you could use to make spanakopita, salad, juice, and why buy cultivated spinach? Look at this. Here is malva
It tastes like
again.
spinach. Like exactly like spinach.
So here's our friend malva again with a flower.
Let's get right in on that so you can see that.
The flowers are edible. And another part of the malva that you can eat is the little seed capsule. Look at this little seed capsule. Mm-hmm. That's also
Cute.
edible.
It's a little button.
Mm-hmm. Like a little button. So, go ahead and try one of these. These are high in protein. I'll find you another one here. When my kids were little and they give me the mommy I'm bored thing, I'd say, I really need 37 malva seeds for the dinner tonight. Okay? So malva,
and you take the side stuff
take
off?
the little side stuff off and eat that. High in protein, you can pickle them. Looks like an old-fashioned cheese wheel. I just found something else.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. This is a little patch where the lawnmower has not been. And I see here, I'm going to pick it so that you can really see it. This plant right here is called Purslane.
Yeah, I was seeing tons of that back
Purslane.
here. See back here?
Yes. And this is another plant that people will work hard to weed out of their garden. And do you know that this was Mahatma Gandhi's favorite food?
Wow.
You're not going to believe it. You got to taste it.
It's not much of a recommendation coming from Gandhi, right? Because he didn't eat much.
Yeah, but you know
He,
what?
like, starved himself.
This is good. You can make salsa and gazpacho
And you can
out
eat
of this.
that little black
You
stuff
can
in
eat
there?
the seed. Absolutely.
Oh, that's the seed.
That's a seed. So,
Wow.
eating seeds is good for fertility and libido and all that.
I don't need any of that.
This was also something Thoreau ate when he lived at Walden Pond.
Really? Wow.
So Purslane, Portulaca oleacera, it's the wild, unbridled version of the garden flower Portulaca. And it tastes kind of lemony a little bit, which indicates that it's high in vitamin C.
So like here it is. So you can just pick this whole thing?
Pick it, pop it in your mouth and put it in salad, gazpacho salsa. So it's
Wow.
really our lack of being connected. And you know what? I think the food companies don't want us to know this. They're in cahoots with the pesticide companies and, they want us to buy. But, how many of us are thinking about how much further our food budgets could go if we had an edible yard?
Can you eat an old cheese wheel?
You could.
You can.
There's
So it does. It tastes like lemon. Or lemony.
Yeah, when you make gazpacho, you don't even need to add lemon.
Oh, I'm getting full.
We also know that purslane is really high in omega-3s, which is really good for our brain.
Wow.
And so, maybe you don't want to buy fish oil. You could be eating your purslane.
You could be eating your lawn, and it's free. And it's kind of fun,
And fresh. It's a hobby. So I come out here like 5 o'clock at night with a colander and make salad.
Wow.
And the vitality I feel from eating something so fresh really makes me feel like a superhuman.
Yeah.
I have a lot of energy.
Yeah. And none of this is packaged in plastic.
No, it's not.
Which I love.
It's, nothing to throw away.
Right. So does this stuff actually work?
It does really work.
Yeah.
Most of our current pharmaceuticals are based on plant medicines. If you look at aspirin from meadowsweet and willow trees and all the pain meds that came from opium poppy, but you can't patent a plant. So drug companies don't study how dandelion is an equivalent to one of the leading drugs, Lasix, because then people could just go harvest dandelions in their yard.
Right.
They need to recoup their $300 million investment by patenting a drug. And so if we think about this, herbs have been used by millions of people for thousands of years. They're safer. And again, what would you rather have in your neighborhood? A spewing chemical company or a field of echinacea?
Yeah, so we have millions of dollars of advertising from drug companies, and it's similar to food, where Michael Pollan says shop the outside of a grocery store, like get the produce and the real food. This is real stuff, it's just not getting marketed to us.
It's true, and I'm all in support of doing the right thing for the planet. So right here, keep in mind, they're a little past their prime, but flowers are the sex organs of plants, and there's many edible flowers. Oh, look at this. This one's called
That one jumped out at me.
Rose of Sharon. Maybe it wants you to eat it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I love to decorate my food with edible flowers.
Oh yeah, that's
This is
beautiful.
Purple Rose of
It's a
Sharon.
little salad.
It's put it in your salad. This morning we put flowers in our chia seeds. So this is in the same family as the malva, Rose of Sharon. So kind of mucilaginous. Okra is also in this family.
What's mucilaginous?
Sort of a friendly word for
Mucus.
soothing, slippery.
Uh-huh.
So this is actually stinging nettle, so you may not want to touch it.
Okay.
Because if you touch it, it stings you. But many years ago, a German woman gave me one nettle plant, and I planted it, and now I have like thousands of them. Rudolf Steiner said nettles are the heart of the world. So we make nettle juice with this, we blend it up, we puree it, we make nettles pesto. And nettles is high in iron, it's anti-allergies, it's blood building.
Can you eat it?
You can eat it, but if you pick it, it'll sting you. So actually, I don't mind getting stung. It's actually very therapeutic to get stung if you have arthritis. If you have like arthritis on any of your joints, yeah. It actually injects you with formic acid, which is also found in red ant bites. Yeah, so it doesn't leave any splinters in you, but nettles is amazing.
Mom! Wow, there's like little spikes all along the side.
I know, so the
vicious
nettles
little
is
thing.
taking over, and it is my intention when I leave this planet that there be thousands of nettle patches everywhere from
So
this
can
one
I come by
plant.
and uproot one and then plant it in my yard?
You can. Although if you wait till the last week in March, I give like about 100 plants away. I know,
One
but
little
see,
bite.
But you know,
No, get away from me.
nettles is used for hair loss. You can stim your scalp. Before the days of Viagra.
And that's good for me?
It's good for you. For arthritis.
It's like ongoing pain.
Okay.
One little thing.
Okay, you know what?
I mean, I can handle it, but I'm impressed.
Before the days of Viagra?
Oh, I would rather be celibate than sting my weenie.
It increases blood flow, but it really works.
It definitely does. My thumb is doubling in size. So you're just putting water in there from glass, notice, not plastic?
Yes.
Love that.
So we happen to be using nettles, but you could do this with malva, dandelion, the lamb's quarter, the amaranth, or any of the plants that we just saw. Maybe you have something in your yard and you are not sure if it's edible or not, but so many things are. But because I have an abundance of nettles, I'm choosing to use that.
So how do people figure out if it's edible or not?
Well, you know, I do have a phone app out called iPlant.
Ah, well, glad I asked.
You can look at that, and that tells you. So this is how you do it. This is how simple it is. And I also want to point out that one of the things we also do here is catch all our water in a basin. So the water that you use to rinse off an apple, you could be giving that back to the earth. Rather than just letting it go down the sink, why not, you know, at the end of an hour of, you know, rinsing lettuce or washing your hands, maybe with no soap or a biodegradable soap, you could be giving it back to the earth and then opening the door and giving it to the raspberries or the mint plants.
So even if you're using soap, you save that?
Yeah, because we don't use that much.
And so if you're using eco biodegradable soap, a little bit is okay for the plants.
I think that's fine. And I usually use Dr. Bronner's.
Uh-huh.
But that's what's here right now.
Cool.
Okay, so we have wild organic apple. And you'll see how quick this is. We're going to make a weed juice.
Did you get right in here? It looks so beautiful before you...
Okay, so a weed juice, and I'm going to let the spider
Love that.
go. Also...
Let the spider go. Yeah, he was freaked out.
So we're going to put an apple in here. You see how quick this is.
Instagram porn.
Thank you.
Cool.
Also,
if the cook's not looking, you can take the apple out and just eat it.
I'll give you another apple. Okay, so we've got a blender full of weeds, water, and an apple. If you don't have an apple, you could use a peach. You could use some wild plums. Just take the pit out. And this is a Waring blender. You know, if you don't have a super $500 blender, this one works great. We're going to turn the blender on with the top on.
E presto.
Okay, wait. One more step here. A little thing you can buy at the hardware store for about $1.50. It's called a paint strainer bag. If you use a strainer, it'll kind of get all gummed up. So I just washed my hands. Now I'm going to lift it up, and I can squeeze this little nylon bag and extract all this wonderful medicine from here. And, I mean, I do have a juicer. But how many of us have juicers and they have 20 parts and you have to clean them?
Right.
So there you go. These nettles were growing about a minute ago, and now we are going to drink them. And you know what, Waylon? It will not sting your mouth.
All right.
And this is really one of our favorite things to do when our friends come over. We offer them a stinging nettle juice.
And that helps manage because they're obviously growing so quickly, right?
It does, yeah. The neighbors like it when I cut it back.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Okay, there you go.
All right, it's a party. Now we load it with vodka. Cheers.
Cheers.
To Mother Nature.
Tastes pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's plain, very alkalinizing, high in minerals, magnesium. It really makes you have so much energy. I think the freshness is really the medicinal virtue of it.
That's what it tastes like more than any one thing. It tastes like aliveness, like it was just fresh.
You could put celery in here, a cucumber. And of course you could use kale or kale stems, but one green juice a day is a secret to great health.
And then in terms of cleanup, it's not that much.
No, and you rinse the blender, the water goes into the basin that gets dumped out and given back to the earth. So another thing to remember is if you have water to throw away, throw it on a plant.
So I save the water from my shower when it's heating up, and I do save water, but I don't have I save it in a bowl, so I miss a lot of the water. So now I need to get a
little bit bigger basin.
That's so smart. All right. So I'm here with Brigitte Mars. She's a prolific author. We have some of her 17 books and publications out here. Here's one that maybe applies to what we were just talking about. You have an entire book on dandelion medicine.
Right. It's out of print in English, in print in Chinese.
All right. So if you're Chinese,
See?
that's a win.
Oh, it's in print in Spanish too.
Beautiful.
My latest book. And I did not write Rainbow Mars's latest book, but I did help make Rainbow.
You helped create her.
I helped create her. So
you get a commission.
Rainbow Mars,
You get a karma commission.
Okay, there we go.
So, and tell us about your app.
Well, I created a phone app with the help of a couple of amazing Mormon seals. It's called iPlant. And iPlant, it only works for iPhone and iPad, although they're working on an Android version. And you can get, information about 250 plants. So, for example, lamb's quarter or something that we saw, you can blow up the picture of it. It'll tell you if it's edible, is it medicinal, what family is it in.
How many plants are in here?
250
And
plants.
there's tons of info about all the different properties of it.
Contraindications, is
How to
it
use
safe
it.
during pregnancy?
Wow.
And then I have a lot of little YouTubes on how to make a weed juice, how to make a tincture. So iPlant, $2.99 at the App Store.
This is great because I was just saying, well, how would I know, like without my own personal Brigitte Mars friend walking around a yard, if it's safe, if it's good for this, if it tastes good, if it's going to sting my thumb, whatever. And this is a direct kind of interactive and encyclopedic answer to that.
Here's the malva that we saw outdoors, and you can look at the leaf structure and the flower and the little seed capsules. And then you could also, find out more about it, like, what family is it in, and maybe there's a chemical constituent you're looking for, what vitamins. And you might also want information like, is it safe during pregnancy? Avoid harvesting from areas that have been treated with herbicides. So that's really the only caution. Otherwise,
and can you
it's totally
search
safe.
like I'm pregnant, what would be good or something?
I don't think yet, but we're constantly updating the technology.
Right. Or like older gentlemen could search like I can't get it up, so this would be good for me.
Well, for
like yours,
that, they might like this book.
Oh, hello.
The Sexual Herbal.
Yeah.
I think I gave you this one.
I have a different well,
version.
That's quite a photo.
The old version, yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple like embracing.
There you go. The Sexual Herbal.
Cool. Yeah, some of the pages are.
And then this is my latest book, The Country Almanac of Home Remedies.
I know. I love the design of this one.
It's kind of
beautiful.
Mother Earth newsy type.
Of course, you co-authored it with a lady named Crystal.
Yeah, she really helped organize all my information.
Right.
Crystal, she's great.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much, Brigitte. It's great to have an excuse to reconnect.
Thank you.
So sometimes you're around people who feel like they're like living reliquaries of knowledge. I was just around Richard Freeman at the Yoga Journal conference, and Brigitte's like that for Mother Nature. So check out iPlant. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
The app or her books.
And BrigitteMars.com. And I am of service. I am here to help reconnect people to the plants because it's good for our health, it's good for the planet, it's good for the bees, it's good for our spiritual development, to attune to the subtle frequencies of nature, and it's certainly the right thing to do for our environment. And it's great for your health. I'm all about that.
And one of the main complaints about green is always that it's more expensive, it's for bored liberal yuppies, but it's also good for your budget. It's free.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
And the fresh thing, there's nothing better.
It does taste good. Tastes like sunshine.
Yeah.
All right. Brigitte, thank you so much.
Blessings. Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.